Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Again. What movie is that from, huh? What movie is that from?
I'm clueless, man.
I think it's from, isn't that from Space Odyssey with the HAL thing? He was stuck out in that thing and then maybe? I don't know, maybe not, I don't know. Everything
no
should
idea.
be referencing something retro-ish. There's Iron Giant right there to the left.
Yes.
Oh boy. That's his legs, I guess.
Wow,
Oh,
the graphics.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
That's badass. That's awesome right there.
The details, like, legit.
Have you read the book, Ready Player One?
No, I haven't. But I've seen the movie trailer.
Yeah. But look at that. It's the Doctor Who's thing. Oh, these hands are awesome right here. Ooh-wee.
The telephone thing.
Pretty awesome. Iron Giant.
That's sick.
Oh, look at that face. Oh, look at that face, me. Put a flashlight up in here. There's supposed to be Easter eggs in here. Like, whenever the movie is, you know, they only show certain things, and supposed to be extra stuff that isn't only in this VR experience. What's that? Keela. The Bible?
Can't grab objects, right?
I don't think you can grab. Nope, you can't grab anything.
It's a little bear with the interaction.
Little blaster gun. Don't know what that's from. Is this Pee Wee Herman's bike? Maybe. I don't know. From that one movie.
No.
Everything should be something. Yeah, in the book, it was a basement with like couches and posters on the wall and arcade machines and a bunch of retro stuff. This is a garage. And they changed it in the movie because they figured that he would like to display his Iron Giant and all that other stuff. But they changed it, you see?
In the trailer, he was like in the stacks.
Yeah. Well, this is the guy's friend. This isn't his place. This is that main guy's friend. His best friend. He hangs out at his place all the time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool storyline about, you know, the CEO dies and he makes a freaking Easter egg put into the system. If you find it, you get control of the company. But that company controls the whole world, sort of, because everything uses VR, the same system, the same OS called Oasis. And if you find the Easter eggs, you get to control Oasis, which means you control the world. And it's worth billions and billions and trillions of dollars. So the whole world is organized to play this game. And everybody is trying to find, like, they're all watching old movies and old 80s stuff to find out what that creator liked. So they have to go into old movies and do weird stuff. That's why it's all this retro stuff. Oh, there's collision. I can't walk past you. No, I teleport past you. Which means I can teleport back into secret areas, right?
Yeah, I seen in the trailer there was like a golden room or some shit.
Yeah, there's like you probably saw like a key or something and like some Easter egg nonsense and some door gate crap.
That means they have to like spend a lot of money on like copyright too, with all like the references to these movies.
Yeah, like Back to the Future and everything. And well, that's why it helps that Steven Spielberg. I think they're going to be using a lot of Warner Brothers and Emblem Entertainment assets. But I bet you Iron Giant is owned by either Warner Brothers or Emblem. So like they already own it. A lot of the stuff, I guess.
And that would help, like, kind of capture people's attention. If it's, like, referencing to pop culture and they can see, you know, fiction in VR, that gives them an idea of what's possible.
See, the weird thing is, like, we're actually, if you watched a movie and you see, it's like, wow, I wish I could stand next to Iron Giant and, like, be in his hand. Well, we're already doing it. It's already here.
Yep, get up close to it.
Just not real enough yet.
You still get the scale, though.
Yeah. Like, the scale of his hand is really...
Like, if this is your first time with VR...
Oh, yeah, it'd be mind-blowing.
Yeah, this is like going beyond your own ceiling.
Well, I like how there was he put little chalk numbers on there here because he's trying to figure it out. See, in this sense, like in that world, there's a tangibility to VR stuff. Like it requires maintenance or something, which makes it more real. Like if your VR object breaks down, you have to care about it more.
Yeah, it's like simulation to the max.
Yeah, that's what I like about certain things.
That's like almost Black Mirror level. Bunch of ships. Oh, this is sick. This mech.
Is that from Alien? That Ripley got in and fought the Alien Queen from Alien 2, I think. I'm pretty sure because those hands look darn familiar. Pretty awesome. Now we know how big it is. Pretty durable.
Have you tried a VR chat?
No, not VR chat. I've tried everything else on the planet, just not that. I know about all the current memes about it, though. Makes me concerned about going there.
Well, I mean, if you enjoyed this, you'd enjoy that. Because everyone can upload whatever they want.
Well, that's awesome. It allows you to create your own content.
And that's how the memes come, like, popular.
You're able to make stuff that's relevant.
Yeah.
That's good. I think there's a button up there. I see a button.
But this has better, like, graphics.
Have you tried Anyland or heard about it?
I heard about it.
Yeah,
it's like you build your own land, right?
Yeah, you build your own. Anybody has the ability to make... well, that's not a button. You can make yourself, you can make the world, and it allows for really easy functionality. Like you can make buttons do stuff, and walls open up, and you can make machines and devices. It's just the graphics are really... it's all basic Unity graphics with very simple textures.
It's like blocks.
It's awesome. Yeah. But you can make whatever you want. You can make something look really, really detailed with those blocks. It just takes a long time. I do like the garage, but I don't like it, but I do like it.
The lighting is good.
Oh, yeah.
And the sound.
Oh, yeah, it feels really ambient. It helps to give a spatial
immersion.
Whatever this thing is. One of these discs are from Battleship Galactica, either that one or that one. I'm guessing that one because of the red stripey thing. I don't know what that one's from. That's from something else. Are you from Ferris Bueller's Day Off? No, they had it wasn't a two-seater in that movie. It was not a two-seater in Ferris Bueller. Right.
Oh yeah, there is collision. In VR chat, you could just like walk through anything except the walls.
That's not good.
But then,
well, you could break the collision by walking forward. Another thing is it pushes you backwards when you try to walk into it.
oh,
When you
like
try to actively walk into it, yeah. Well, it doesn't, I don't know if it's moving my avatar forward. Well, actually, no, it's not letting me do it. I try to walk in the room to let you walk into things. Maybe you could appear behind something by doing that. Cheat it up. Oh, I got access. I'm cheating. Whoa, I found a way in.
to what?
I don't know.
Oh.
I'm trying to find Easter eggs. I found it. Oh boy. No, it's nonsense over here. See, the cool thing, like, if this really was like the Oasis VR thing, and if the person really did own this garage, and if all these barrels actually had stuff that he needed to use, like if it had oil because that thing needs oil, and if this had little spare parts and he had to keep it over here and with little O-rings and gaskets and stuff, that adds a whole level to, virtual reality when there's maintenance and entropy and reality.
Have you seen Black Mirror?
Yeah.
Have you seen
just not the... Which one?
the new season?
Nope.
The first episode's about VR.
Oh, cool.
And it's like, instead of a headset, you put a chip on your brain.
Okay.
And then there's a CEO who hates all his coworkers. And he owns a VR company. And he takes their DNA and recreates their consciousness in the VR game. And the episode starts off with them being confused, like they just woke up. So they're trapped in his game. And he like tortures them. But they eventually find a way out.
We are going towards direct brain interface very fast, actually. You know, like Facebook talked about it during, I think, their presentation from, I think, 2 years ago. They talked about doing direct brain interface. Facebook, using light, because your brain can react directly to either light or sugar. And certain wavelengths of light can pass through even bone, like red light. And they put it right in your brain, and they're able to, like, the goal is to have glasses where you don't use your hands or words to interact with stuff. You shouldn't have to say, hey Siri, because that sometimes you're in a crowded room, so you're supposed to be able to think about it. So I think it's going to work by using object recognition and eye tracking and personal preferences. Like if it knows you're looking at a barrel and knows what your semantic meaning of what a barrel means, it'll give you like an array of things around it, like, you know, and then you could just think about the one that is there. So you don't have to like it's doing the thinking for you, and it's doing the referencing for you. So if you see someone's face, it'll give you like a cloud of all the memories that you have about that person. You see a waffle, it'll give you remember last year at Coney Island we had that waffle? You know? That's how I think it's going to work, but very soon probably.
Dude, that would be like sensory overload.
Well.
It would be like you're like technologically on acid.
Well, see, I think it'll help out the language barrier. Like if you were looking at that barrel and you had memories about it, and without you having to describe your whole freaking life about what it means to you, I could just see your cloud, and I could see how my cloud matches your cloud, and it's like, oh yeah, you went to Fiji Islands, you had that barrel too, yeah, me too. And it's like, it skips away a lot of the middleman, and
but that means
exactly what you want.
All that information has to go to someone, and there's a big brother that knows all your data, your whole
Absolutely.
mind.
Absolutely, that's the problem. That's the problem, because if you're a good person, it's fine. But if you have negative thoughts, or if it'll know you see a baby, you think about killing it because you have images of like World War II and bombs and stuff. Every time you see a woman, you see a woman, you think of slasher and psycho and murder scenes, and it knows this person thinks about murder all the time. This person is a promiscuous, evil person because it knows what you're kind of thinking about, and then it could correct you. So as long as you're fine, it's fine.
Damn.
If you're a good person,
it's crazy.
But you know, I think with access to information and with virtual reality, individual uniqueness will disappear, because whatever makes me unique is because I existed before the internet and I'm from a certain state and I have certain food preferences because of the stuff that's around me. But if each person has equal access to everything, nothing really gains relevance over another thing unless it's objectively good or objectively bad. It's like, what makes waffles better than pizza? Nothing really, because waffles are better than more than pizza. It's about the context of it. So everybody will eventually have the same context, and it won't be some weird mental deviation of why a person likes something that doesn't really make sense. That will go away in about 2 generations.
That's kind of scary, because then things that people are like passionate for, it's because they want to learn about something. But if everyone knows everything and everything is like known, then what will you search for? It'll just be like traveling the road, maybe. I don't know.
Yes. The second, let's say that you're able to easily fly as fast as you want. Who really cares about the fighter jet unless you like fighter jet? Unless you personally like fighter jets because of some movie that you saw. But when you start deconstructing everything, it's just, well, I want to fly. I want to go fast, slow. Then B starts to lose meaning about, well, I could just go right here, right now. I could teleport. Done, you know? It doesn't really matter anymore at a certain point. It's all equal, and it's just, I think we'll stop having artistic stuff. All gonna be, I don't know, I think this is the end of humankind, personally.
Oh yeah, that's like tampering. That's tampering with the flow.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. I think we'll all eventually have a shared consciousness through VR. Be like the same. I think. Okay, what's going to happen is
We're gonna be so neutral.
Facebook said they're going to give you a digital assistant in AR that knows everything about you, like a little genie. Well, that genie is going to be basically you and your best friend. People are going to have numerous best friends that aren't real, that know everything about them, but they will be them. And I think they will eventually sell copies of themselves to hang out with their friends. Or like you could rent Tom Cruise or an AI copy of Tom Cruise for a bit, you know. I think eventually it's just
So that's like, yeah, I mean, that's the whole consciousness copied. And you're interacting with like someone's twin.
Yeah, so the whole consciousness copy thing is just if you know a person's semantic internal database and reference system for what things mean to them, you know who they are because you know how they will react to stimuli, to mental stimuli.
So
you
like,
show them a puppet, yeah.
if I were talking to you right now and there's like another conscious VR copy of you, how would you feel about yourself?
I already have. Look, if I saw a version of myself talking right in front of myself, and he was an AI copy of me.
But what if you two had like different point of views? Like one point of like, well, what if you got into an argument with yourself? Who do you think would win? Which is the real you?
There is no real, like, I personally believe that there is no real me. I think I'm also you. It's just when I'm you, I have your memories and consciousness. And when I'm the lamp, I have no thoughts, you know? It's like, I think we're all the same thing already. It's just that right now we're trapped with our own brains and, with our own reference model, and once that reference model goes away, it'll be transparent that we all already are the same thing. So like, imagine you have a conversation with yourself from the future, and you don't like yourself. Who cares? It's like, that's a different you. Like, the you from 5 years ago isn't really you. You had different opinions about stuff, and you could argue all day. It's the same thing as having a fake version of you with an argument. I know it's just a different instance of me. If I made, if you copy the universe right now, and you make one version live for 5 years, you come back, you can equally kill that person, or not kill that person, or have an argument. It's still you, but it's not you. It says you as everything else. You know, it loses all meaning. Kind of horrifying.
Holy it's a loop.
Yeah, horrifying.
Well, I mean, I guess like if you think about it, if you look at a bunch of ants, they all feel like they're an individual, but the organism, if one ant is dead, another ant will be alive, and it's just actually just part of the whole group.
Yep. Yep, and see, the ants, you know, they formed a perfect system to the point where they don't have to actively think. There's no thinking involved. I mean, it's like, it's just chemicals. They go out from the hive, they look for food in a search pattern. When they find it, they bring it back, they leave a different chemical marker, other ones follow that trail, and then it forms a weird complex system that looks alive. It's not really. I think it's just I think ants and bugs and trees and stuff, it's all like a artifact of reality. Like like living code. I mean, and even people up to a certain point, we have this illusion that we're actually alive, that we have thoughts and feelings because we're unique, and because everybody has the equal feeling of you want to be special, you want to be alive, and you want to have meaning in your life, mixed with unique experience equals, I think I'm a real person, and I'm unique, I'm from a place, and the fact that I have a dog has meaning in my life. But it doesn't. Oh.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
Wait, what were you saying before that?
Yeah. It'd be nice if this pipe here did something.
Oh, I know what you're saying. Also, like, I kind of feel like that way when you're like on a plane and you see a city. It's like above, it just looks like it's flowing like together because of all the cars and everything, people walking. But if you zoom in into a car, a person actually feels like they have their own life.
Yeah, so same thing with the economy, you know? It's like, it looks all complex and stuff, but it's entirely freaking predictable about what's going to happen. It's just when you get down to the micro scale, it gets chaotic and weird, but you could predict entire trends of populations, you know, or demographics. If you know quote-unquote demographic, you know exactly what they're going to do within a certain margin. How you control people. You create clones of people by creating like fashion and trends and like culture, different kinds of cultures. That's different ways of creating molds of people so that they're easily predictable and controllable. Because if you know, if I create a blank kind of person and you make a instance, you know exactly that group is going to do something. With small deviations, but the majority will do that thing that you want them to do. It's how you control the masses.
Yeah, so it's basically an algorithm. The ultimate algorithm would be reality, if they have that much information to quantify.
See, I have a feeling that, not that this is all fake and it's already in the quote matrix, because that implies there's like another layer above us that is normal with computers or with running people, because it doesn't make sense. You know, you have to have a weird sort of where it's fake but not really fake, and it allows for the, well, what I mean is, in the same way that this place doesn't look clean. It doesn't look clean, it doesn't look polished, it just looks real because it looks rusty and damaged. and how in reality you say, how come this isn't heaven? When I walk outside, I stub my toe. Well, reality has the dirt and the filth, which makes it seem more real, which makes you value things more. You have value through loss. So you have to have entropy in order to have, good things.
Wait,
so
what
you
is
have to
entropy?
have corruption. Breaking down of reality, like the natural, it's like a thermodynamic concept where everything will eventually dissipate over time. You have a gas, it'll dissipate. It goes from complex to chaotic. Everything does that. It's a natural thing, except for life, you see. Except like life is the contradiction to the universe, and especially humanity. Our personal goal internally is to destroy entropy, which means make everything perfect without breaking down. Remove the dirt, remove the chance of the breakdown.
So entropy is death.
Yeah, entropy is the whole aspect of death, that everything has to die, everything breaks down, something loses heat. Like you have a hot thing, it cools down, that's entropy. It doesn't stay hot. You put a hot thing to a cold room, eventually the whole room will be warm. It's not, you don't have the singular things. You have everything just fades away and turns into dust. Except for life. Now, some things that they group together, right? It's a natural, but life is the universe. And it's in there, you know what I mean? And it's a natural product of it based upon complexity. Things that are similar joined together, making more and more complex things, making more and more, of which then, like crystals and stuff like that, and suns and planets. So those are very complex, unique, singular things. It's not like we have the universe full of just dust. We have planets that are symmetrical and pretty and nice, and that's where things are able to combine more and more. But on that planet, it's full of entropy because everything's breaking down, which allows things to be separate to join back together. It's like a cycle. Things have to be torn down, to be broken apart, to be brought back together in a higher form, leading to an end state. So if you follow that as you have the universe, a bunch of weird dust and nothing, which forms globs of things, which then forms denser globs, being the brain and neurons and everything, because that's formed from the universe, which then seeks to destroy entropy. That's like our goal. That's why we make machines and technology, and we want to live longer with the urge to push forward the goodness of the light.
Immortality is weird though.
Well,
what if you want to like exit, but you can't? It's basically you're trapped in technology.
Do something like escape the simulation or escape?
Well, I mean, like if someone can basically copy their consciousness, they have the choice to like transfer or basically copy their consciousness when they die. But then it's like maybe you do go somewhere when you die, or like you go back into the universe, and then some part of you is like trapped here, and it'll be like deja vu.
See, it's such a weird thing. You see, it's almost a sad thing. Let's say that you take a drop of oil, and that oil is everything that ever was, right? Or whatever, and you put it into a bathtub, and the oil fans out to make a membrane, and then you blow bubbles underneath that oil. Now there's bubbles, big bubbles, small bubbles, stacks of bubbles, complex bubbles, and the very, very top layer of that, those are people, and they think that they're real, and they have unique experiences because they could trace back the past line of the stack of bubbles, leading back down to the bottom, and they can say, look, that's my origin, that's where I come from. But when you pop all the bubbles, you have just this one unified membrane, which it doesn't have the experience anymore, but it's still the same thing. Now, does it have the capacity to experience? Does it have the capacity to? Is it alive? Does it have consciousness? But in that context, consciousness is just the ability to cross-reference and then look forward. Like you're looking for similarity, you're moving away from difference, and you're combining things and you're separating. That's all it really is. And we move towards similarity, you move away from difference. But when everything is similar, you stop. You think about a time of peace, you're not thinking. You think about when a person prays, after the words in the head, they just stop and they wait. When you go to sleep, you wait, and all the thoughts go away and they stop. Imagine you have a long hike and it's all over, you sit there on a bench and you're like, oh, I'm done. And then you stop thinking for a while and you just exist. That's what it's like without referencing the past, You don't think, no, I sure walked a long way here. The second you start thinking about where you came from, you get all human again and you stop being just non-thinking existence, which is the neutral state, I think. And we move about our day with a neutral state, and then you see something that you are reminded of, and then you see like the red thing, and you move towards the red thing. It's like, oh, red is apples. I'm biologically hungry. I like apple pie because of last year. It makes me feel safe in companies. I want to call it grandma because she makes apple pie. But you don't really think about all that. You see the color red, you think grandma. And then you think, why should I call grandma? Oh, because she owes me money. It's like a weird your thoughts get in the way of the weird just moving towards similarity, which is all it really is. But my point is that in the context of all that, once you die,
yeah, you go to a neutral state where I know what you're saying. Like I went to like a sensory deprivation tank, and then I got into like a point where I actually totally forgot that I was even thinking because someone knocked on the door and then like snapped me out of it. And then maybe that's like the same state that people feel when they meditate or when
Yeah,
they like
no.
really get into a flow.
Yeah.
It's like automatic.
Yeah, it's very, very strange, you know, because like when the person knocked on your thing and you snapped out of it, you could have been there for an infinite amount of time, and it's only relevant until afterwards, and you think, well, I was there for a long time, but you're not really aware of that span of time. You have that comforting feeling of, oh, this feels normal and good. You're not really thinking words about how you feel. It's just a state of existence. Very strange.
Yeah.
See, the state of existence only gains like humanly relevance when you think about, I feel safe and comfortable. Not like last year when I broke my leg and my sister and my car and you start thinking about reality about, you compare the now to yesterday, then it makes you feel good, even better about what you're looking at right now. This is all just nothingness, but it only means stuff because that shape means something to me because of my thought, and then you move towards, oh, this is cool, it reminds me of that one movie, you know. It's just because I saw that one time with my human eyeballs.
And that's like talking about this dimension. There's probably like third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension, so on. I heard there was like 9.
Yeah, you know, they could yeah. And
you know, what makes this like dimension recognizable is like the shapes and colors and I mean like that's like it's a simulation of the aesthetics. Yeah. But you know, once you have like eye tracking and like haptic feedback, or maybe we just have like a chip that can just like shoot information straight into you. That's the real virtual reality, because you're experiencing it with your consciousness. You know, you can run around, but it's all like in your imagination. While with this, it's like it's just your eyes. You don't have the whole like recreation of reality.
It's like let's say there's pain, right? There's pain and there's good sensations and there's hot and cold and there's pressure, right? Pressure, pain, hot, cold, and some other stuff, right? And whatever. You know, if you keep breaking it down, reality is no different than virtual reality, because it's all just a bunch of nonsense, you know, that we add relevance to things based upon our culture and our civilization. If you're just sitting in a room with a bunch of stuff, it only means something because that stuff kind of means something, sort of, but it's just a bunch of weird like wood and metal and little plastic things and arranged in a certain shape. Then you know what it means. You pick that thing up and you use it and you put it back down and you walk around doing stuff, you know. And then same thing as here. It's not much of a difference, because if you have a thing, you pick it up, you put it down. It's being able to move and think, and I don't know, it's all the same.
Oh, I mean, yeah, like value is invisible, so like value can be on anything. You just like, you know, put value on things you think matter to you, and like every culture is different. So like they're all, if you're gonna think about like a virtual reality, then every like country is a different operating system.
Yeah, different protocols and everything. So
but that's also a virtual reality. To think virtual reality is like a virtual reality. You're just putting a name on it. That's culture's like word for describing what this is.
You're right, because you're right. Like different cultures can be seen as different virtual realities, because you're creating quote unquote, you're creating rules, and you're saying that's what that is, that's what it's called, that's what you use it for, and that's where you get it from. And you go down to either the village market or the supermarket, or like you walk down with the weird thing. It's like a video game, but a controlled sort of thing. So let's say that you're able to take your consciousness, I guess, you put it into a simulation, and it's fast forwarded really fast. You say, okay, your simulation. Your simulated self will live 5 years in this tropical paradise, and you'll put it back into yourself, and then you'll get semantic-based memory. So not all at once. It's just you get that, wow, that was exciting and fun. Then next time you go to the fridge to get pineapple, you get like a memory flash about the pineapples, or like it'll come and come. Like, I don't have a memory flash in my entire life. Like, my memories. It's only relevant to whenever you think about something. It's not like overwhelming you. Sometimes you get lost in thought and just daydream. So maybe daydreaming will be maybe we'll have enhanced daydreaming, where daydreaming turns into virtual reality, because it knows what you're kind of like daydreaming about. It fills in the gap.
That's what your dreams are, though, right?
Yeah, that's what your dreams are. Horribly.
Well, I mean, like when you go to sleep and you're like thinking something.
Yeah.
And you're seeing it and experiencing it, that's a virtual reality.
Yep. So we know that we do that while we're awake to a certain degree. We fill in the gaps with our subconscious, right? Our subconscious fills in the gaps. Like you assume, and then you complete it and say, oh, that's not how it is. You walk over to get a closer look and you fill in the gaps again, right? You see a blinding flash go by, you think it's a cat. And then I think it was a cat because it had a tail and stuff afterwards. And with a police lineup, that's how they get it wrong all the time, because a lot of assumptions are made and the mind just, like with the Mandela effect, a lot of that is because the mind fills in the gap, you know, while you're awake. And I personally think, because I'm saying all this weird stuff, that we are all creating what we see with our subconscious, but it's not a personal effort, it's a mutual effort. Like you and I are interacting with this space, sort of, that somebody else made with their mind, and I see stuff and you see stuff, and it has meaning for both of us, and then we fill in the gaps. But I think it's a actual actual gap filling. I think you're actually filling in the gaps of the universe. Like when you say, oh, it was a cat, it really is a cat until you confirm it. It's like a Schrodinger's cat sort of thing. But more, it's like, if it was a cat, where'd it come from? It has an owner. It has babies. It left poop everywhere. You know, there's a past to it. So it's not just you're creating the moment, you're creating the past. You're creating the entire past and the present. I also think that all that really exists is right now, you know, and that you already are sort of dead. So I think that we're all kind of already dead, and that this is either heaven or hell, based upon your subconscious. Like based upon what you do, you could turn it. And I think that we are all immortal. I think that we live forever. You see, but we see other people die. We see them die. I also think that let's say you're skateboarding and then you fall down, but you barely make it, or a car almost hits you. You died, and then this is the one that made it. Like there's an infinite version of yourself doing the same thing, sort of, and the ones that make it, it's you. Like I've had many cases where I've almost died horribly, and it was like magical. Oh well, you barely made it. Yeah, because that one made it. And like you're learning over time. You're building this stack of knowledge, and I think the longer you live, the more obvious it is that you really are immortal, sort of. You know, except that I think there's a difference. Some people are conscious. Some people are a part of the system. Like everyone that follows a niche or a trend or a clique or a cultural thing, that say, I like Justin Bieber, I'm a Bieberite, and you have to dress like him and everything. Well, that person isn't really alive. They're being controlled, and everything they like, and they're predictable. The predictable ones are less like alive. The unpredictable ones, not so much. It's all about what are you thinking about. You know what I mean? And the ones that are puppets, those guys, they are creating what they're supposed to create. Like the powers that be are making them create reality in a certain model by making them believe certain things. You create what you believe, and if we believe the same thing, we create the same thing. Now let's say that I'm more powerful than you mentally, right? And I see something that you don't because I'm creating it. I'm daydreaming about a weird llama in front of me. And you say, hey, you see that llama? What llama? Right there. It's like, that's not a llama. Watch this. It's a llama. Oh, it is a llama. Because I just won, and I pulled you into my universe, and I killed the old you. It's like, the old you is drifting on where it's split right there because I pulled you in. That's what I think it's all about. See, and in that context, I really am you. It's just because you're making me and I'm making you. And I'm making the version of me that's making the version of you, and you're making the version of all this sort of thing. No. And that kind of day. Yeah. And that would explain Mandela effect sort of things, and coincidences, and bad luck, and prayer, and everything, sort of. I also think it's very strange that we're both alive during this time right now, during sort of the singularity. You know, during our lifetimes, probably, I don't know how old you are, but, you know, the CPU, you know, games and everything just got made now. And in the past, like, 50 years or whatever, technology has skyrocketed to the point where we're creating reality now. It's just the odds of us making, like, within my lifetime, we'll probably have a God consciousness in a machine and being able to replicate yourself within my lifetime. And the odds of that happening are pretty damn zero, which means this is all fake. I mean, the odds of me being alive right now in this state of reality, very low. Therefore, it's all manufactured. It's all a dream. It's all a dream. A manufactured dream. It's just that when you sleep, you have total control, and when you wake up, you have shared control. But the secret is everybody has total control when they're awake. It's just internally you don't think you do, so you surrender control to the system. To manufacture what you're supposed to manufacture.
Damn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was a trippy talk. What was your Twitch?
Can you see my name right now? I think if you point at me and do the grip button.
Wait, stay still.
It's a Goobarberty. This whole thing was being streamed, so you could view the conversation afterwards.
Ah,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, that was all third person.
I'm gonna blow my mind.
I have a question.
Yes.
So,
Go
where
ahead.
are you from, guys? Are you in the expo, maybe?
I'm from California.
Yeah, SF. Cali.
I'm not at the expo. That would be cool though if you see people at the expo. Yeah. So
You were
if a
just at the
person's
expo.
You were at the expo?
No, he was.
You were? You were?
To get
That's
here,
awesome.
he was at the expo.
Oh, I mean at the literal expo, at the real expo, at the expo, in the physical reality, on the physical plane.
No.
realm.
Yeah, in a way.
We are just in a dream.
Yep, just a dream. But you don't say just a dream, because if everything's a dream, then the word dream loses all relevance and all meaning, because it's real, you know. I have some pretty darn real dreams, to tell you what. Some lucid dreaming, you know, where I've done lots of experiments with dreams while I was conscious, you know. And you have all your senses, you have all the sensations, it's all real. Real is real. I've talked to random people, I've gone online. Next time you have a lucid dream, go online and look something up. Blow your mind a little bit. Seriously.
Lucid dreaming.
If you're able to read. Sometimes it's really hard to read, but if you look stuff up online, man, while you're dreaming,
Wait,
on your laptop,
Wait, what?
while you're dreaming, in a lucid dream,
Uh-huh.
go online and look something up that you don't know.
That's like Pandora's box.
It's amazing.
I have an experience with that. I think maybe.
Yes.
There was one time when I was in a dream, not really sure if it was a lucid one.
Yeah.
But I look up a book and I could read stuff like
Sweet.
it wasn't anywhere in my spec of knowledge. Is this real information or not?
You see?
Well, it turned out that it wasn't actually real information, but it was interesting.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe that's information in some plane, but not
Yes.
in this plane.
Well, I'd say it's potential information that you weren't powerful enough to manifest in reality. You weren't able to change entire universe. Like, let's say that I think that a country exists by a certain name and they have certain vegetables and everything. And I look it up, it doesn't exist. It's because I looked it up and I looked it up because I wasn't confident enough. And because I wasn't confident enough, it's not real. If you're sure it's real and then you just tell someone the name and they say, oh yeah, I've been there, it just becomes real. And all of a sudden, let's say it is real and you make it real. That implies that the entire planet has changed. Like the continental shifts and everything. The entire crust of the earth has changed from the beginning of time. Yeah, that's what it implies if you do change it.
But I have only, a couple of things. I cannot do that, but I have a couple of things about all that stuff, and that is about the power onto others. You are changing their lives. So, what's in there? What are the rules? If everyone has the power to create,
Yes. To realization and
Okay.
and why is that? Why is that rule applying?
why is it so?
Yeah, why is it so?
Well, through personal experience and experiment and understanding about logical systems, I've determined that to be so. Like, I've experimented with it, like with the ability to change the past. Like, if a person wishes for something or prays, and it comes true, then they change the past in order for it to work out for them. Otherwise, it would happen anyways. I mean, it's like if they say, oh, I hope I get this promotion, and then they get the promotion because something happened in reality. Well, that thing that happened in reality already was going to happen. You know what I mean? The past was moving along that chain. So if you made it happen, that means that you changed the past. If, in the context of prayers and wishes being real. If they're real. But it's more like I think what happens is positive or negative events happen to people, and they think about that event, and they think negatively or positively, then it works out for them or doesn't work out for them. Based upon the composition of things. You know, it's like you are a... Well, see, it's weird because I was thinking of you as an actual biological person. I'm pointing at your body. About to talk about your body being real and stuff, but it's not real in this case.
Yeah, that's kind of confusing.
Your
Yeah,
body
power.
isn't... Yeah.
Yo, so if you can like see the fourth dimension of time, then you can see everything, past, present, and future.
Yes. And like, the way that would look would be like that stack up, like that example I gave you about the membrane and the bubbles and stuff like that. That's kind of like a four-dimensional model because the entirety of existence is one object. It's one object and it's already done. So you can look in the stack and see the past, middle, future, but it's like, you know, it's all one thing as a solid thing. Solid, non-moving thing, by the way, because movement and time is below the fourth dimension. So above the fourth dimension, there is no time. It's all, you know. Yeah.
Gravity.
Yeah, well, whatever gravity is.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell gravity is.
What about this? What if there
Whatever.
is someone or an individual or an entity or whatever that has infinite power? What
Yeah.
if he... Well, you say that you can control everything. What if he decided to just delete everything?
We'll see. If he did that, we wouldn't be here. And then if he did...
Is that so?
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's say that person decided to, quote-unquote, delete everything. Or let's say neutralize everything. Or make everything equal. Because if a person makes everything equal and perfect, it loses all uniqueness, which means everything ceases to exist.
How about deleting everything and himself?
Well, let's say that he deletes everything. And he was like, I deleted everything. I did a good job. But like, it would just be this, it'd be like the sense of self and nothing. It'd be like you're meditating, basically. You delete everything all the time when you close your eyes and you're about to go to sleep. And then it just pops, it comes back.
Nothing is like
How can you meditate
something.
if there is nothing?
Yeah, but like nothing is something.
Nothing. Well, you are nothing. Like, it's just the aspect of existence. And then that aspect trapped into a biological thing with weird reference models and stuff, you know? Like, when I smell cinnamon, I think about something because my brain works that way. Somebody else would think something else, and that forces my mind, the real me, to think about something. Like, the stuff is forcing me to think about stuff, which isn't really even me either. It's like forcing things to happen, and I'm just a weird passenger existing. Like, the words coming out of my mouth are automatic because that's what this guy says when he talks. You know, and it's weird. You're just a passenger. I don't know.
I'm understanding that there is like two different concepts, maybe, I don't know, two horizons, one where you exist, one where you, well, you exist as a material thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there is actual organization on the non-material side?
Do I think that there's what?
Okay, let's say the material plane is like a dream.
Yeah.
The other side, do you think can we interact between other people, between other entities, or we are all part of the same thing?
So let's say there's only one consciousness in reality, and that consciousness is filtered throughout all scales of what we call reality. And where every rock and tree and creature has the same consciousness, it's just when it's a frog, it thinks like a frog. It doesn't have much faculty. It knows, I have to exist, I'm hungry, that's dangerous. And it's like when you're a baby, you have certain feelings, but it's still you. It's just, if you become a professor in 5 years about something, you know more about reality, and then, but it's still you with extra knowledge. But you strip away everything, you have just one thing, and that thing, I think, is everything. And it's like trapped up in like, you, me, and him, we're all the same person, but you have different thoughts right now. And you have different experiences because your body did different stuff, and you know, it's like a different save file interacting with one another, and they think they're different.
It's
So
basically
nice.
it's like a hive mind. Like they talk about technology, and like if we're all connected, then that would create like a hive mind because all the information is like grouped together. So this is like it's part of one hive. If you're just like an individual bee, and it's like swarm.
I think we already sort of have a hive mind, like with the economy, you know, and international politics, sort of, and our interest in that, because we're all sort of like already one kind of mind, but there's separate. It's like you get, you know, it's like these are my dogs, but those dogs are licking themselves, and those dogs are like they're all still your flock of dogs, and they're all one set of things, and you know, you have like a, let's say you have a stereotypical cartoon image of different kinds of things. This is what here's a bunch of different goofy people, like from the Disney Goofy dog human book. They're all different. The big fat one, the small one, but they're all sort of the same. You know, like a different dimension with little instances of difference in between. It's just weird that I can't. It's impossible for me to be inside your head right now. You know what I mean? It's weird. See, I'm trying to figure all this out because, you know, I'm coming to this conclusion over time in my life that I'm trying to crack this code here, this big system.
I really think we are not. Well, I do think we are from one single entity, but I think that the thing that makes us different is what really makes this physical world interesting.
It is, but I think the difference will go away over time. It's just inevitable. I mean, the only thing that makes us different is because we're from different geographical locations. Because we don't share the same three-dimensional space, and our sensory perception is trapped based upon location. That's the only thing that makes us different.
Damn, bro.
If you're born in like Tennessee, you're gonna be a Tennessean liking like horses and shit. Excuse my language. You know, that's who you're gonna be. It's like you're born that way, and that's your personality now. unquote. You're a mirror to your environment. I don't see people as people. I see them as nexuses of their experiences. Like, you're an experience nexus. You're an experience nexus. I'm one too, and now we're sharing, forming one mind of like let's say that you are actually God, right? And then that we are agents of reality, giving you information so that you could then build it better. And that my job as another God is to give you information so that you could build it better, so that you don't mess up my reality. Because if I don't do that, then you can make a crack in the road. You can make my car blow up by accident. You could not like something that I like. So we have to be on the same page. It's in everybody's best interest to make everybody make the same reality. Otherwise, you have, hurricanes and stuff blowing up, stuff breaking down. Stuff could be perfect if everybody was on the same page. Maybe that's just it.
You gotta use the force carefully.
I think we will never be able to make things exactly the same as human entities. So it's a bit weird that we are working together to make the same reality.
Well, let's say that over time you start replacing biological parts that break down entropy, right? Your kneecaps, your legs, your heart, your lungs, everything except for your head, and then like your face and like your neck and your everything but your frontal lobe, right? Eventually, let's say that. Or you get enhancements and upgrades. Eventually you replace every last little cell in your brain. And now you have, in the future sometime, everybody will have equal access to information, and we'll be able to go anywhere through virtual technology, teleportation thing, because your body doesn't really matter anymore. You could exist in a system or not. You could transfer your body from one to another. You could trust it eventually. I think we'll be able to trust that I really am that jet when I'm in the jet. Like, that's me. I mean, then if I'm also over there, you could go back and forth. I think eventually, it's inevitable. It's just a very long time from now.
Well, we're talking about the future.
Yes. Very long time.
Actually, to think that we are going into the collective mind, especially with all the artificial intelligence thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be a long time, because understanding the brain and the implications of human digitalization.
Well, I think I don't know about, because with with neural networks, all that stuff, being able to scan a bunch of instances of the same thing and then finding information that makes things like that you look at a pile of data, then find out trends and patterns and everything. I'm pretty sure we'll be able to figure it out pretty fast, especially once we do like the direct neural interface with a lot of different VR headsets are thinking about doing that in the future. Like Facebook is, for example, with this thing that goes in your head that uses light, because the cells of your brain can react to light or sugar, and it uses red light to go into your brain and then do stuff. Yeah.
I actually was reading about that, and how it was a long post about how scientists expect to develop the technology to actually input information into the brain, or backward, or the backward process, and they expected around 100 years. That's probably gonna be around 50 years if artificial intelligence gets developed fast. But I don't know. I'm just random view.
So let's say that over time the neural networks get better and better and better. At a certain point, it gets infinitely better. Like, it goes from the iterations start to become extremely exponentially better from one another. That's what they're going to do, and then they'll start making themselves very, very soon. They already are doing that. That's how they work. That's how we don't know how they work. It's just you give them a pile of data. Well, we know how they work, but we don't know what the code is. There is no code. It's just an array of things. It's just a neural network. It's like eventually it trains itself. That's how it works. And then eventually, it'll be running everything. We won't know how it works. It'll be like a living thing, basically, that we made a long time ago.
But it will be based on computer power also. It will have its limitations. So also there is people saying that the Moore law is hard to complete.
And then we transition over to a whole different spectrum of things. Quantum computing. It's like the second it goes to the end, then it pops, and then something else takes over. The tire is going away. We can only go so fast with rubber tires, and you make a different kind of tire. The end. If a person was like, the rubber tire can only go so fast. Every year we go faster and faster and faster with better technologies. But then one day it will pop, and then you make a ceramic tire. That's what happens. Or you make something else beside. You make a foot. You make a whole different paradigm that is the same spectrum. A locomotion system that isn't a CPU. That's all. The the processor in the normal way will eventually be too dense because of the interference of electrons and everything. It's only so small it could be, and that's the limit. But if you don't use that sort of technology, then you're good to go.
Do you know about like the Dyson sphere? I think that's what it's called. Where like in the future,
sun.
Yeah, it's an awesome show. Where like in the future, our sun will eventually run out of like energy, so we'll like wrap it around an exoskeleton of like solar panels or some shit.
Yeah.
And all the consciousness that existed when the Earth existed is now computerized into a simulation of what it was.
Sure. Because over time, the goal is to extract energy so that you could move that energy forward to do our purpose, which is to make things more complex and remove entropy. Over time, you will eventually use all the energy. You know, the whole type 1, type 2, type 3 civilizations of type 1 is use all the energy from a planet, type 2 is use all the energy from a solar system, type 3 is use all the energy from a galaxy. I mean, Star Wars was a type 2.5 or whatever the hell it is, and, you know, Star Trek is a above type 1 right in there. We're below type 1 because we're not even using geothermal and wind and waves as much as we should. Eventually we'll figure all that out, and then eventually we'll go to the sun and get all that out and get all the planet's energy out too, so we could push it forward and make more stuff to conquer more things and stop the universe from dying.
Instead of like having the Dyson sphere, maybe we could just like terraform into another solar system.
Yeah.
And when are we gonna know the truth about your dreams? Are humans ever gonna have the necessary tools to infer into the truth?
Maybe they'll have like a technology that will like see like the afterlife, and then you can like choose to.
Well, you maybe stop dead, but you cannot. You maybe not be able to look what's after death, or.
Hey, check that out.
Or maybe there is just another energy you are not aware of. I mean,
is that a real person?
I think so.
Yeah, come here, don't go.
I like your outfit. It's like glowing and stuff.
The footsteps and like, it just sounds creepy.
I know. So you hear someone walking in the distance over there somewhere. I like that this is like a shared space. You know, people just come and go. It's pretty awesome.
So VR chat is.
Yeah, that's awesome too.
It's way more fast paced though. Like you can run around like really fast and shit.
I'll check it out. It's free, right?
Yeah.
It's on Steam or something? Yeah, I'll check it out. I think I installed it. I just never went into it. I have a bunch of... I've been doing Fallout 4 VR quite a bit. That's what I mainly do on streaming. You know, because it's amazing. You can get really role-playing into it and everything because it's a big old open world. It's amazing. I think it's the best thing out for VR. It's just kind of glitchy here and there, and the graphics are in, and lots of problems with the controls. But once you get over all that, it's basically like a Matrix sort of thing because it's a whole world, you know? Every NPC talks to you and looks at you and has facial animations, and they have deep, layered conversations and stuff. It's amazing. You get lost up in that thing. Yeah, so I've been putting stuff like VR chat on the side, and a couple other things. Like this thing, I was putting this on the side for a while, or, you know, the Sansar concept.
Yeah, virtual reality is... I like it because it's very immersive.
Yeah, you feel like you're in virtual reality right now. It's like the way that you're talking, your mouth is moving, and you're like, your hands are barely moving and everything. It's making you... It's pretty awesome.
Well, obviously with the devices you are using, it's easier to get immersive. I'm in a desktop environment, and obviously I cannot. I just see in the third person, so it's not that immersive. I have.
This is real good kinematics right here.
It's different when you're like actually immersed because of like the presence of the environment, like.
Yeah, being able to move your head back and forth.
Yeah, it's powerful.
I wish you made our characters crouch and everything, you know, like, because I'm crouching right now, actually, but my head doesn't lower.
Yeah,
oh, shit.
Yeah.
That
if you crouch, it won't do
is lacking.
Yeah, it's not doing it yet.
So my head's actually where my stomach is then.
Yeah.
I think I can, like, glitch it like this. Pretty sure you cannot do that. But
I can do this. But I can't move around as fast. Hold on, hold on.
Oh, teleporting.
Once they have like actual
You can
games, then this will like be way better. Like activities and shit, you know.
I think in the CES thing, there was like I heard that there was like a country movie, whatever, that they filmed in VR or whatever, something like that. I was in the CES room and they said, and also check out our Western experience where we have a movie that was filmed for VR where you can really get in there and check it out.
It's probably the Intel Studios thing.
Oh.
They did like a Western movie.
Yeah, that. I didn't see.
No, more like a scene, but it's like 30 seconds long. It's pretty bad, to be honest. I don't think that's...
Is it actually VR or is it like
it's VR. If you are in VR, you can go to any point.
Okay, good.
In the scene, okay, it works, but as an immersive experience, it's rather lacking. Well, it depends, because in the future, movies are gonna probably be like you are the actor, or you can watch from any point you want, or it may be holographic.
I think it'll be vaguely interactive, where you are a character in the movie and you have minor roles to do at certain times. Like it'll be mainly that you're kind of there, but then they'll say, "Hey, come on, let's go!" Like you're just like a passive person, and they're kind of talking to you, and they say, "Come on, let's go!" And they're here, grab this and shoot. Like there's a certain scene where you gotta shoot a bunch of stuff at once. I don't know. It'll probably be like that with a bunch of stories.
More like a game.
Well, I think games and movies will start to be. Well, movies are all going to be interactive, and the second a movie's interactive is the game. So what is a game really? Game is just a simulation of reality.
I mean, if it's like CGI versus actual humans.
Well, eventually, I think it's going to be the CGI. It's going to be motion capture, where it's going to be using really good CGI and motion capturing and AI to synthesize any sort of emotion, and they already have it right there, like Lone Echo. There's some really good stuff, and I think eventually the actor will just sell a digital copy of themselves, and that's able to be used in movies and everything.
They'll be used in movies. They'll be used in like adult sites.
Yeah. Yep.
That's kind of scary though.
I like where it is all going, to be honest.
You can abuse someone.
I just hope it all becomes performance ready pretty fast. So
it'd be cool if they
can have it.
Well, it'd be cool if they had like spaces like Times Square where they have cameras and stuff where they make a certain space be captured, including the people too, and they should have no objection to it because you're in public. Okay, you walk through that little square, you're being captured, and then you're being scanned like with photogrammetry, you know, creating models, and then it's touched up with AI to make it look nice and polished, and then you can visit that space, you know, in that. Maybe the floor has like a glass on it, whatever, where you could, hey, there's a person standing there. A person walking in reality will say there's a person standing there. Well, eventually you'll have like augmented reality where you could share the space. You could go there physically or virtually, and you'll feel like it's the same location, I think. You know?
But that's kind of like Black Mirror level, because someone can pause that, and then they can like walk around and then like let people like do nasty shit, you know?
Yeah, that's it. Well, see, that's just how it is. You could do next to a picture. You could take a camcorder and like imagine things, and you could like take a picture of somebody. With the picture, though, you.
But this is like the whole like reality, like recreating reality and being able to like, it'll be manipulative. It can like manipulate
sensory problems.
Well, you just gotta have the right protocols and security. If there was like one operating system, like if Google Earth was so advanced that you could like go to any location and see live people walking around in public spaces, but maybe walk up to a store and make an order, because all the shopkeepers will have the glasses on, and they could see virtual and non-virtual people. You could, send it to my house, and then like half the customers are fake and half of them are real. It might be like that. I don't know, walking around and stuff like that. And
those are like ghosts. Like the people that are out in the world are real, and then like people who are at home are like ghost versions of themselves in the real world.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about that you said? That we are in the set of a movie that actually has all of that.
Yeah, the Oasis system.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Yeah, which is great that they have this level of polish for something like that, because that movie is going to make VR be really big on the map and really desirable, you know. And then you got to have them. I want them to create the Oasis or something like that. Well, in that thing, everybody got VR glasses as a part of, like, you're in America, you get some VR glasses. Or I think the whole world. And then the school system was all in VR, you know, and free to everybody. And
So, like, the people on the street, I saw in, like, the trailer, like, and they have headsets on. Are they, like, aligned in some other simulation? Like, what are they seeing?
I think that, I don't think in that book, at least, there wasn't, like, an augmented reality just walking around and I'm seeing stuff. It's like you jack into the Matrix, or whatever you call it, and then you leave. And you walk around in reality. But they don't really walk around in reality. There's not really a need to. They have better technology where you can have food delivered to you. Like, no one really goes outside as much, you know? It's like, at one point he has to, like, leave his house and go around and do stuff. At that point,
It's like the light.
The thing is, Oasis is the cheapest way for governments to run their countries.
Yeah.
Like, you can do everything in digitalize it, and you just need people to make the stuff up, designers and programmers.
Holy shit.
Like,
be like
whole
gods.
schools, in Oasis, they have whole schools. The
Yeah.
education system is all online and in virtual reality, and that's pretty cheap. You don't have to.
Yeah. You don't have to build a
buildings and
freaking
stuff.
building and hire people, like the janitors and everything, and like the upkeep, the grass and the maintenance and the pipes and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
You move to an area, you get some new glasses for the school district or whatever it is, and you return it after you're done, and something like that. That'd be awesome. And then, like, for a lot of jobs, I think when robots get better, we'll be able to work in a job through VR. I mean, like a hazardous job where they want like a human level responsibility over it. That's sort of dangerous, but not really. But eventually, the AI will be better than people with responsibility, like self-driving cars and everything.
EA is probably better than people right now.
People get distracted quite a bit, and they're stupid, and they have cognitive issues, and you know, it's a problem.
Yeah, of course. I do think that the problems of EA are going to be
it's so cool.
ever is gonna be there because they cannot feel. You can emulate feelings.